I don't have like no, I didn't finish it, but I did yesterday. I was chatting with a few guys on my stream, and I said I wasn't gonna stream today, and because it's Christmas Eve. But then I woke up and I was like, okay, I'll stream something I enjoy. But hopefully I'll have be able to play with Prime 4 soon. I'm at the very end of Prime 2, so I'll probably finish that just because I don't want to leave it unfinished. But yeah, my system it's just a budget laptop with increased RAM, and that's pretty much it. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But I also don't know how well optimized Mega Man X Legacy Collection is. Oh, you did. So what's the verdict for Prime 4? How would you rank it in the overall scheme of things? Alright, things are still looking good. Okay, so Neri says, Prime 4, worst Prime game. I still enjoyed it for the most part, but it has a lot of problems. That's the general consensus that I've seen. So I've, for the most part, managed to avoid any kind of spoilers. So I am anxious to get my hands on it and give it a shot. I do expect to fully enjoy it, but I'm just, I've played... There's a difference between an enjoyable game and a... and a bad game. A bad game. There are some bad games that are enjoyable to play. Maybe what I can do is all the stuff I said in my first playthrough of this morning, I can just get the audio from that and put it over this this play footage. Okay, it looks like it's still coming through. Is it still coming through on your end? Good, Neo? Steam. I bought it. I bought the Legacy Collection on Steam. Over the years, I've bought like probably 5 copies of this game. Probably at least 4. 4. It's 4. I have the original NES version and the GameCube Legacy Collection that came out, and then I have the Switch version. It was on sale, and I needed it. And then I also have the Steam version. So I get the urge to play this game at least once a year. So, it's kind of like... Okay, good. It still looks good. I don't know what it was, but I'll have to be aware of that. Boba Fett. I mean, Vile. And Zero coming in like a boss. Oh man, this is awesome. Okay, can we let's go through this quickly here? Yeah, so I thought about doing the retro achievements, but then I had I woke up this morning, or maybe no, it was last night, and I have the ROM downloaded, but I didn't have an emulator set up on this. I have it set up on my Steam Deck. So, I don't know. Maybe if I continue with this because of what happened, I'll start again with retro achievements. Because that would be pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. But I can't imagine some of the fan-made achievements. I imagine there's some that are quite difficult. And as I've said before, I'm not a speedrunner for this game. Neo, your favorite of the first 3 Mega Man X games is 3, right? I think I remembered hearing you saying that. I will. That's one of those opinions that I completely understand, and I think objectively, it's like our the argument of what's better, Perfect Dark or or GoldenEye. Oh yeah, it's like objectively, I think Perfect Dark is a better game, but I prefer GoldenEye simply because of what it means to me. It's kind of like that for me with Mega Man X. I had this one growing up. I didn't have X2 or 3 till later when I purchased them. Back then they were retro games when the GameCube and the N64 were still relatively new. So they don't hit home for me as much with the nostalgia. So X is my favorite, but not because I would say it's technically a better game. It's still a great game, but X3 really did kind of ramp up the. They all build off each other nicely, just like the Donkey Kong Country trilogy. All right, we get the dash. Forever changed platforming. And frame rates are a little low on my stream, it looks like. But for right now, it's okay. If I do continue this, I'll probably get it set up on an emulator so I can get my retro achievements. I feel like once I start doing that, I'm going to be hooked on it. I have trouble starting new things. The mecha suits. Alright, I am gonna have to Alright, let's. Where is my... Oh, I can only do that from the main screen? Okay, never mind. I was going to switch the X and A button. Is the ROM hack 0? Okay, yeah, 0 project. Alright. Yeah, you did mention that. Maybe I'll get that booted up. Get that running. Okay. Chill Penguin. I feel like the day that I can't beat Chill Penguin is going to be a sad, sad day, and I'm too old to hold the controller. That's how I'll know the end is near. partially my reasoning for wanting to play this every year is to make sure I still have a base level of video game competency. You'll notice I'm not wall jumping off because the controls for this are not set up properly. But it doesn't matter. Die! And then we get our... You got shotgun ice. And look at that. Nice quality of life. This is what's for the children out there. This is what's known as a password. We don't use these anymore. Alright, I am going to restart the game though so they can remap my buttons. I don't think I can do it from here. But it's okay, I saved. Alright. Option mode. Alright, I want shot to be Y, jump to be B, dash to be A. Load game data. Yes. Alright. Okay, I'm not going to play these guys in the order that you're supposed to. I want to do Boomer Kuwanger first. No. Who do I want to do next? What do I need for... We'll do Sting Chameleon. This is not going to be an optimal speed run or anything like that. I actually just want to see if I can get those like hidden boss mechanics, like you can cut off the trunk of Flame Mammoth or the arms, the tentacles of Launch Octopus. So, and I want to get all the armor pieces so I can look as cool as possible. Someone needs to make a hack of this game where they replace all the music with the metal versions that all the fans of this game have made throughout the years. It's one of those enemies that doesn't have any iframes, which I always found interesting how they work those in. Ugh. It's me getting impatient. I definitely think that X1 is the easiest of the trilogy, and possibly all of them, simply because such a jump in mechanics that I guess it's hard to know what the player can actually be able to do. So don't make the bosses too complicated. Like Neo, when you played this game on a controller, like when I'm holding the controller, I'm holding it kind of like this, with my pointer finger touching the A button. Like, I could remap that, I know, but that's how I did it as a kid. And it's just kind of stuck with me. And whenever I try to remap it for Mega Man X for playing this game, it always throws me off, and I don't want to like relearn a new control scheme, so I just stay with it. So now when I dash, I like push the A button with my forefinger, all so that I can hold a charge and dash at the same time. I don't know if anybody else does that. The pincer grip, yeah, that's a great way to describe it. Yeah, I should do that. Maybe when I load this up, I load up on the emulator, so I can get my retro achievements. I'll do that. I don't know why. I just, for some reason, whenever I play this game, I have to hold it like that. Otherwise, I forget mid. Like, I'll be fighting a boss, and I'll just unconsciously try to dash off the wall by moving my finger, and it won't work. Yeah, I wonder how much the developers of this game knew that they were introducing, you know, faster paced platforming that's not found in Mega Man. Like, Mega Man games are great, but they do run at a slower pace. And there's definitely more. Mega Man X games are more, they're not precision platformers, because there's not really a ton of that in the game itself, but there's a lot of like fast movement, and I wonder if they were worried, like, if players could actually handle how fast that combat actually had to be, because it definitely ramps up as the games progress. Sorry. One of my browsers was yelling at me. Hopefully that doesn't wreck things. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah. Yeah, if you go from Mega Man X to Mega Man, it's painful. Like, you feel like you have no mobility at all, and your only way to dodge the bosses is to jump at one specific height. It definitely made having the bosses weakness like way more important. You know, in this game, you have the ability to, you have so much more mobility that you can do Buster only runs, but in Mega Man, it's not like that. You're very vulnerable. But I will say, as a kid, playing Mega Man X, these bosses were definitely more intimidating. Coming off of Mega Man 1 and 2 and 3, you just like weren't ready for how fast they moved, and you had to kind of match it. Bait him over here. Ugh, come on. So I tagged him at the last frame. I love that like recoil hit. It makes it so much more impactful when you finally nail him. Played Mega Man. Oh, you did beat them with your Buster. Okay, since that was an achievement, yeah. Except Elect Man is literally impossible. See, that's what I mean. Those fan achievements, man. I'm curious now. I will say the sound of those blocks that you have to memorize the sequence for. You know those. Those are etched into my mind. Will always evoke so many emotions every time I hear a similar sound to that. Boomer Kuwanger. I did not know what a Kuwanger was. It's a bug, just in case anybody wanted to know. One of the best soundtracks in the game. Yeah, it's like a centipede, I think. What's funny though is that Mega Man X seemed like the natural progression of the series as players of Mega Man grew up. You know how like kids syndicated shows as they go on for a few years, they start to get darker and have more adult themes because the fan base is growing up. You know, kind of feel like stuff like that went on with Mega Man. But then Mega Man, the original Mega Man series continued on, and now they're coming out with a new one. So obviously it's like two different types of games. But we haven't had a Mega Man X game in a long time. Like I dropped off with Mega Man X3, and I only played 4 a little bit. But there's Mega Man X8 now, or 9? Spark Mandrill is easily the best soundtrack in the game. Along with Armored Arm. Yeah, all of them are great. I could listen to all of them. Chill Penguin is the worst in my opinion. But yeah, Armored Armadillo. Man, I'm definitely gonna listen to some of that. When I like train my my middle son, he likes Mega Man music, so when we get in the car, he always wants me to put on the heavy metal versions of Mega Man X music. And I am more than happy to oblige him. I think there is a way to get that with precise jumping, but I'm not going to do that. X8 was the last one. It was on the PS2. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, will there ever be another Mega Man X game? That's... maybe someday. I mean, with ZX, the ZX series, sorry, with the Zero series on the Game Boy Advanced, and then, well, I got some lag there. Oh, that's a short level. I never realized that. Okay, I'm probably just gonna die because I have half health, but we'll see. But yeah, the ZX games had some issues at the start, but they really refined them towards the end. And sorry, not ZX, Zero games on the Game Boy Advanced, and then the ZX games came out, and I really don't know where else the series can go. Like, how can they top what they've already made? It's just a warm-up. Don't worry, everyone. Yeah, that's right. ZX were on the ZX series on the DS, and they tried to make them more Metroidvania-y, which I did not appreciate. The map was awful. I think we actually talked about this on stream once, that the ZX game tried to do like a map, and it was the most unhelpful map in gaming history. This was one of the bosses as a kid where I absolutely thought I needed the boss weapon. Teleportation was intimidating as a child. Ah. It's alright, we're gonna get him. Boom. Game Boy Advance. You're right. Not advanced. My hand's cramping from the pincer grip. Flame Mammoth. Oh, I shouldn't have done this guy. I should have done Storm Eagle. Can I exit? Oh yeah, you can't exit the first round. Okay. Guess I'll have to come back here for the... Okay, so this is a small thing, but it's kind of nice. So, when I rant about different game design things, yeah, I gotta come back here. One of the things I like to rant about is like player agency and how to increase that, or at least the perception of it, that the player's doing something that affects the world. And one of the ways you can do that is by having like the environment change based on the player's actions, and that can happen in, you know, small ways and in big ways. In this case, it's a small way. Like the levels are affected by the order that you beat the bosses in. So because I beat Chill Penguin, this level is now frozen over. Excuse me. Yeah, because I beat Chill Penguin first, this level is now frozen over. And you can even, I think in, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can actually shut off the electricity in Spark Mandrill's stage, if you if you beat another boss in a different order. But it's just it's a small thing that shows, like, you know, what you're doing as the player matters. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get this. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. And at least gives you this the perception that, like, you have some agency within the game world. It's not just entirely all scripted. Again, it's a small thing, but you know, the small things add up to memorable gaming experiences. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, if you beat Storm Eagle, you can shut off the electricity. So it's, you beat Storm Eagle, you can shut off the electricity. You beat Chill Penguin, you can turn off, I mean, you can freeze over the stage. But are there any others that can change the stage? I'm trying to think. Forgot to check the stream, make sure I'm not clipping out again. Little sound effect as the door shuts. Do I have to have the power up to cut his nose off, or oh yeah, there we go. That's another, you know, tiny thing thrown in there that's like, it's completely optional. You wouldn't even think to use it because to go for it, because that's not his weakness. But you know, if you happen to try out different things, you can eliminate one of his attacks. I think that you can contribute. You can that contributes to the sense of, like, player action and you having some control over how the fight goes. Really cool. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you need to beat Launch Octopus and then go back to sing Chameleon to get the last heart tank. Now I'm pretty sure that you can use the cutters again on Launch Octopus, right? To cut off his tentacles. Okay, let's try to complete the ensemble. Another great track. Oh man. Yeah, I don't want to try that one. Yeah. I think last year when I was just playing by myself, I tried to beat Launch Octopus without his weakness, and it was really hard. He just throws so much junk at you that you're you either need like a ton of E-tanks or just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not as good at video games as I think I am. Nope. Gotta go up here. Oh, that's awesome. I forgot about that. That's cool. I'd love to be like a fly on the wall in in the creation of these games, to be like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if when you blow up that enemy, it shatters all the glass? It's like completely unnecessary. It doesn't do anything to to affect the player in any way other than make you think that's so cool. I guess I can use some... No. Oh. Something that I like that I've always loved about the Mega Man games, Mega Man X included, is how the, like, and it's something I've never been good at. It's just considering how each of the powers can help you through the stage. I remember when I first started watching, you know, people speed run through Mega Man games and how they just know, like, the perfect weapon to get through each part to make it easier. And I never really, I don't know why, but I just never experimented with that stuff as a kid. So seeing it being like, oh, this can help you with this, or this can help you with that, it adds to, you can play the game however you want. You can beat the game with only using, you know, your Buster Shot, but you can also mess around and, you know, use your weapons. I think that's the intended design for sure. They want you to use your weapons, but you don't have to. You can choose. Whee! That'd be cool if you could cut off his wings. Oh, I actually have his weakness. I should probably save my Sting Chameleon shot. Nice little environment change. Nice. Storm Tornado. Yeah, this was the weapon you're supposed to use against Flame Mammoth, and I often wonder if, like, usually the weapons that you beat guys with sort of make sense. Like, if someone's a fire guy, you use water against them. Or something like that. I feel like most of the time that's the case. But apparently, like, Sometimes it just doesn't really make sense. Like, Chill Penguin, Ice beats the Shock guy, Spark Mandrill, but then Spark Mandrill beats Armored Armadillo, which makes sense because he's covered in metal. Then Roll Shield, you know, there's no kind of elemental thing with that, but functionally it matches. Same with the function of Launch Octopus's homing thing, helps you beat the teleport guy. So it's more, I think it's more of like the function rather than the element. I don't know. Alright, let's go back and complete the ensemble. You can just get it and then quit. I say that like this is easy. And I also say that without knowing that I might have to restart the level a few times to do this. Nope. I think I might have to restart. Yeah, I think I have to restart now. That's unfortunate. Is there an easier way to do that? I never... That's just always the way I've done it. Alright. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good. That was close. Alright. Now we look super cool instead of just kind of cool. That was awesome. Alright. Yeah, I hope to kind of... Once I get past Prime 4, I hope to get more of a schedule down with streaming different games to get some variety. I don't have a ton of time to stream, so it'll make going through the games a lot more of a slog in the sense that it'll take longer, but you know, if I could do like retro days where I could do retro achievements and then more contemporary games, I think that'd be a cool balance to do. Or every other day, I don't know. Setting up the streams would be a pain in the neck because I can just reuse stuff, but alright, let's see. Where should we go next? Let's go launch Octopus. Alright, this will have to be the last one. I'll complete the game. Can't say I'll stream on Christmas. Probably not going to stream on Christmas. But maybe the next day. We'll see. I've always wanted to know, in the Mega Man universe, who makes all these animal-based robots? And what was their function? feel like there's an easier way to do that. Can I get up there? Oh, okay. There. I was wondering why that wasn't triggering. Oh gosh. Spikes being a one-hit kill kind of feels like something that wouldn't happen nowadays, even in modern Metroidvanias. But I wonder if, you know, we just kind of all accepted it as kids that those things kill you in one hit and there's nothing you can do about it. It's why us old people complain that games are too easy nowadays. Oh, what am I doing? Get that fast twitch muscle spasm. There we go. I gotta having so much fun I forget I'm on stream. I'm like, man, should I say something? No, just bask in the glory that is Mega Man X. Again, if you haven't played this game, skip Christmas dinner, forget about your family, and go find a way to play this game. And do that first before everything else. You don't need presents. You need to play Mega Man X. Nice. Oh, brutal. Now he can't suck the life out of you. But he can do a ton of damage. Oh yeah, okay, so that bottom one, they follow the same path, so at least there's that. I can just... not get freaked out by the constant barrage and just keep shooting. Nice. Yeah, I feel like in later games the shots would have been a bit more random, but it's hard to know what in these older games what was like software and hardware limitation versus them intentionally deciding to make things easier or harder. At least with the difficulty, you know, this is a cakewalk compared to a lot of modern day action-oriented precision platformers like it, you know, Hollow Knight for example. The fights in that game are just insane and require a lot of the player, but I feel like most players can get it down if they just put in some time to practice it. Undoubtedly one of the best video game soundtracks of all time. Bird o'clock. Use my boomerang here. So always I felt was always a little finicky. Yeah, I gotta get to go down. Yeah, if you're a fan of like heavy metal, definitely look up. There's so many. There's so many. Heavy metal renditions of this particular track right here. Sorry, I have to for some reason the controls didn't stick last time. I don't know why. I do have to change them again. Yeah, I think I do. Sorry. I'm gonna restart, but it's alright. I'll skip the I'll skip the intro for this one. I do not know all that goes into porting a game. I imagine this is a port and not a straight up remake onto the whatever modern system, because this originally this originally released on the GameCube and PS2, and I don't think it was released on the Xbox. Could be wrong. Okay, yeah, so shot, jump, dash. Alright, that's all I wanted to do. Kind of weird that that doesn't save. So I was looking at different videos out there as to why this game is considered one of the best. Even by today's standard, sorry. Of course. Hit the wrong button there. Even by today's standard, it's still, I feel it still holds up in its gameplay, which is obviously the most important aspect of a game. Okay, let's load before I try to make any profound arguments here. All right, here we go. Spark Mandrill. Oh yeah, so okay, so why is this game one of the best? Well, I would say, obviously, in its length, it doesn't measure up. Because, you know, this is my second playthrough, my second stream of this game, and I'm already done with 8 robot masters. Oh, sorry, 6 of them. Got 2 more to go. So in that sense, you know, it's different. It's, you know, it's not even modern Mega Man X. And I say modern Mega Man X, we haven't had a Mega Man X in over a decade, I think. But even those games, you know, they're longer. They take, instead of 3 hours to get through, they take 6 or 7, depending on, you know, your level of play. So, you know, you really can't compare length when it comes to why this game is great. And I think all it does do, though, is come down to the core gameplay loop, which should be the starting point for every single game. Always got to start with a gameplay loop. And this one, despite it being a new entry in the series, like completely new to Mega Man X and Mega Man, trying new things with faster gameplay, it really nailed it. They really refined it. And I think, you know, I'd be interested to see what other kind of precision platformers are out there, because I would call this a precision platformer, just by the speed that you have to go through. The gameplay here. Okay, so this is a mini boss here. He's not shooting anything because I beat Storm Eagle, which I believe when you beat Storm Eagle, the lore is that it crashed into the power plant, I think, which makes it so that this mini boss doesn't have any electricity, or the level itself have any electricity. Again, just a little thing to kind of flush out the world, make it, you know, a little, I don't know, it's not an Easter egg, but just a little something for the player to see, like, okay, so wait a minute, if I beat Spark Mandrill first, what will this level be like? You know, it's small, but you know, adds to replayability in some instances, and adds to that feeling of, you know, the choices I make and how the order in which I beat the bosses affect the world and the difficulty and things like that. So another little thing that we discussed before that was very prevalent in X1. I can't remember. I haven't played X2 and 3 as much. I have beaten them numerous times, but I can't recall like the differences in the levels there, and if you beat them in any order, like how that affects things. But I do recall talking to another player about it. It's definitely more of an X1 thing than it is anything else. But ultimately, when it comes down to that question of, like, why is this game so loved by people, I don't think it's just nostalgia. I do think, at its heart, it's a perfectly simple game. It's pretty simple. It doesn't try to do anything super duper extravagant. It does what it does really well, and what it does is give you simple gameplay. That's really, really well done. Simple gameplay, simple story. Excellent music. Wouldn't call that simple. But more on that in a second. Alright, this is Spark Mandrill. We could do this the easy way or the hard way. I'm going to do it the hard way just because it's more fun. Probably one of the other only few faults I would throw against this game, were I so bold to make such a claim, is that when you use when you use the like required, not required, but the weakness of a boss, it becomes pretty much a cakewalk. Like I can stun lock Spark Mandrill here, and that's the same with other bosses as well. I think in later Mega Man games they made it so that you didn't have to, that wasn't much of an issue. Like even if you had the weakness of the enemy, you could just, you still had to have some measure of skill, at least in the Mega Man X4, 5, and 6, I believe. Anything past X3, I think. But yeah, in X1, 2, and 3, if you have the weakness of the boss, you can take him down quite easily, which I would nowadays I would attribute that as a fault. But you know, as a kid, you're trying to figure it out. You don't know what the weakness is, so you kind of just go in blind and you have to figure it out. So the discovery of the weakness of the Robot Master is more of like a reward to make it easy, rather than what you're actually supposed to do, because I don't think there's any way to kind of figure that out other than trial and error. So, you know, if it's your first time playing Mega Man X, you're gonna go through the Robot Masters probably in the not optimal order, and discovering the weakness is more of like a reward rather than this is what you're supposed to do. Whereas in later Mega Man X games, it's more of a necessity but doesn't guarantee victory, I don't think. Alright, last one, and this is my personal favorite growing up, Armored Armadillo. Frame rate's still looking good on the stream. Okay, and in this level, we're gonna spend a little time here. Because, well, not here right now, actually, but we do have to go around and collect everything just to make sure that we got all the E-tanks and things like that, because we have the super secret thing that I'm not sure is a super secret anymore that everybody knows about, but I'm gonna do it anyway because it's been a while since I've done it. This enemy right here is a nice little callback to, I believe, Mega Man 1 and 2. This bat enemy, I believe they're reused in the first Mega Man X games. Anyway, I'll explain this again when we actually attempt it, but I think you can get max 9 lives in this game, and we got 6. Okay. In this stage, at the very end, just before you, for anyone who might not know this, for you youngins out there, if you go down the last section of the level, and there's a big jump, you're on this like roller coaster thing, and you reach this ledge, you touch the ledge, and then you drop and die, and you do that 8 times, and then come back on the 9th attempt. There'll be another capsule there, and if you go into it, you see Dr. Light, and he's dressed in like a karate gi, and then he gives you the Hadouken, and you can do the Hadouken combo, which, if you don't know what that is, you should know what that is as a gamer. But basically Ryu's signature move from Street Fighter, and Mega Man will do a Hadouken. And you can only do this move when you're at full health. And if you do it successfully, and it connects with any enemy, it will kill them in one hit, including Robot Masters. And I'm pretty sure including Sigma. So it's pretty powerful. It's so powerful that I believe even speedrunners, they work it into their their speed run, even though it takes extra time to get. It saves so much time when you refight, do the boss rush at the end, that you know you can kill all the bosses in one hit. That they just grab it because it saves so much time. What are we at? 9. Okay, good. All right, so let's beat the level, and then we'll come back here and we'll get it. Yeah, it's a nice little Easter egg slash, you know, reward for doing things. It doesn't really break the game because there's like no possible way you would know, other than like getting to that ledge and finding nothing there but a health drop. That's really the only thing that's there. So it was one of those things where you really had to have like a Nintendo Power magazine or something to figure out. And I think in X2, if you do it right, you get the Shoryuken, which is another one of Ryu's and Ken's signature moves, and it also kills enemies in one hit. And then for some reason they took that out in Mega Man X3. In Mega Man X3, the secret weapon you get is Zero's saber. So yeah, a little bit of spoilers here. The game is the story of Mega Man X is a little convoluted over the years, but basically Zero dies in a lot of them, and he comes back. He dies in this one. You rebuild him in 2. He can come back at the end of 2 and save you, I think, but then still get damaged and have to retreat, so basically dies again. And then in 3, he can either dies or gets injured, that he has to retreat, and he gives you his Z saber again. So it's kind of like a weird trope that they do. To kill Zero over and over and over again. So these things, if you don't kill them fast enough, they knock out parts of the wall that you need to climb up to get different things. So like you can get that by outrunning it, but actually no, that one starts too far ahead. So also that thing I believe is a one-hit KO. So if it touches you, then you pretty much lose. You die. So this part right here. So what we'll do later is we'll go like this. Oh, not like that. But I think you have to get up here. You have to land up here. So you have to kill all those guys. Grab this, and then you drop off the edge and you die. All right, so this is another boss with a really cool interaction with a weakness that's not Cutter, which is, I don't know, it's kind of weird that they put this in, but Armored Armadillo, one of the harder boss because he moves, I think he moves the fastest, and he also has usually invincibility frames apply to after a boss gets hit, and he has those, but he also has armor, which he can do that with, and then he's only vulnerable at certain moments. But if we use Spark, because metal and electricity don't like each other, he gets shocked. And I get a little achievement. And then he's much easier to fight. Like, I can hit him anytime. Whereas before, I wouldn't be able to hit him during that. And he's still weak to this, too. And so that's, you know, when I'm talking about, like, minor faults of this game, that would probably be one. Where, you know, there's fan remakes of this game in the works for sure, and I'm sure they're going to be much harder. But, you know, as a kid, as a kid playing this game. This is fairly difficult. You know, you still haven't built up the fast twitch thumb muscles that you need to beat these bosses. So I understand that there is a little bit of nostalgia at play when it comes to like why people love this game, but again, just because a game is simple and is not particularly difficult to certain players doesn't make it bad. It's just an aspect of the game. And for its time, this game was incredible, and now I'd say it's an absolute classic that I think anyone who wants to develop a game needs to play this. Cutscene. We've moved to Sigma's fortress and his war against the humans. I always like that Sigma theme intro right there. Alright, so we're going to go back and get some stuff before we move on. Gotta get the health tank here. We have all sorts of toys to play with now. Gonna need that later. And something about I mean, all Mega Man X games do this, which is, I think, the best, probably the greatest strength of the series, is that it's kind of like a Metroidvania in that when you unlock different abilities, different paths open up to you, and I believe later Mega Man X games do this more, but at least in the original Mega Man games and the Mega Man X games, it's like when you unlock new abilities, the shot moves in different ways. You know, as a traditional or way of the Mega Man design is that he can only shoot forward. It's not like in Super Metroid you can angle up or down, or in later games where you can shoot pretty much in any direction. And so because of that limitation, which was either, I don't know if it was due to hardware or software or whatever, they just decided to always keep it like this, and the weapons themselves enable you to have greater range of fire, which is kind of a cool way to make them useful. And so, depending on the situation, you want to know what each weapon does, why it's good, and when to use it. And I'm sure that there's some that are, less useful than others, but it does have you, when you replay levels and things like that, it has you go through it and think like, okay, how can I use this to my advantage here? It adds a bit more depth and a bit more thought rather than just going through with the Buster, which you can definitely do. You can just go through with the Buster. It's just going to be more difficult. I mean, if you're a Mega Man fan, you know a lot about the series, you'll know that in Mega Man 2, every boss for some reason is weak to the cutter. The little, like, and that is one you can aim anywhere. For some reason they just they put that in the game, and you can aim it to a degree. It shoots in 8 different directions depending on what button input you're doing, and for some reason it also does like a ton of damage to like 6 of the 8 bosses. Okay, I think I got that one. This one, we need to go to Boomer Kuwanger. But yeah, this stage in particular, like these enemies right here, they got a shield. Shoot them from one direction, it doesn't really work. But if I, just different. If you know how the weapons work, adds a bit to the stage to make things easier to get through. Or like here, if I don't want to deal with these, you know, just charge up and go right through them. Can't get hit. And another thing that they added was that traditionally, I think it's starting with X4, sorry, with Mega Man 4, Mega Man could get a charge shot, which wasn't always part of the Mega Man's arsenal, but what was different about Mega Man X was that you could now charge your Robot Master abilities. Which I'm trying to do here, but oops, that could have killed me if I wasn't invincible. And something that they did in the trilogy of X1, 2, and 3 is very similar to what they did with a lot of games. Like another trilogy that everybody knows and loves is the Donkey Kong Country trilogy. And basically, it's almost like as if each trilogy is like one game in and of itself by the way it progresses. Can I not? Okay. Like, if you jump right into X3, there'll be a series of mechanics that you'll have to kind of get used to as a player. But if you start with X1 and go through to X3, then each entry builds off the previous one. And the same is true with Donkey Kong Country. There's just the basic mechanics of platforming in Donkey Kong Country, but as you go through the game, they add more and more mechanics to make things a bit more complicated. Which is a nice way to, you know, make things build off each other. Okay, let me do this again. Yeah. Oh, I thought I could also use the... I could have used the boomerang, I think, to get that. Alright, Sting Chameleon, we gotta go here. Got another world effect that happened. If you beat Launch Octopus before coming here, there's water everywhere. So we go down here. Now we can do this, get that, and then leave. Alright, Spark Mandrill, I think I got... Did I get the heart tank here? I'm blanking. I got it there. I got it there. What is the heart tank in this level? I wish there was a way to check, but we're gonna go back in a second. The E-tank is on the right side. E-tank's over there. We have all of those. see throwing these ostriches to stop me from just using the shield. Yeah, so I guess a good an example of like the series building off each other mechanically is that like in later games, oof, that's close. In later in Mega Man X2, you don't have to find the capsule to get the dash. You just start with it. And I think that that's when they realized like, okay, this is going to be a staple of the series and something that we want players to be able to do right from the get-go. Is we're going to have the dash. And then when you find the dash upgrade, it enables you to dash in different directions. So like in the air, you can dash left, you can dash right, you can dash, I think you can dash up and down, maybe not down. But that just gives the developers more, it gives you, the player, different angles to be able to jump in different directions, but also gives the developers different scenarios in which they can place you so that you have to use that specific jump to get there. You know, it's like if the developers are like, okay, we want to both increase the mobility of Mega Man, but also at the same time have different situations we can put him in which the player can use this to figure out. Let's add this mechanic where he can jump in multiple directions. And, you know, that new feature is not just like a one-time thing you never use. It does so much to increase gameplay. Oh, look at that. I totally missed that. Alright, that's everything. Hey, Eamon. I did have a good Christmas. Sorry, I don't know how long you typed that, so sorry if I wasn't paying attention. I did have a good Christmas. Did you? I'm on vacation now. I'm combining it with all the days off we have this week and last week. So my longest vacation since I started working with this company. Alright, so now that we have all the heart tanks, which I believe we do, hopefully I won't make a fool of myself here, we can get the Armored Armadillo Hadouken. So we just got to get to the end of the stage, and then we'll... Oops. That was close. And then we'll do it here. No, unfortunately, no 24-hour stream here. Maybe someday when, like, something happens and my wife's like, I'm taking the kids to this thing, you stay here. No, don't get any 24-hour streams. Not yet, at least. Maybe someday, when I'm a senior citizen, making content for all the other senior citizen gamers. Or if my son somehow starts streaming and I can do a 24-hour stream with my boys. That'd be fun. We play a 4-player game. When they're old enough, what we'll do is I'll get all my kids together. We'll get the original Xbox and we'll do a 4... Oh no, we can't do 4-player co-op. We'll find a 4-player co-op game. And we'll do that. Me and my 3 boys. Should have just used... Alright. Hopefully I won't screw this up. Fortnite family stream. You know, I've never played Fortnite. I never had the desire to do that. The whole building thing was pretty fun to look at, but I never just tried to get into it. I will say it is becoming like Ready Player One. Has that feel to it. Gotta kill all these birds. Okay, grab that. Okay, that's one. I'm gonna keep track of this so I don't. Dash through all this. I don't really know what the best weapon is. No, that's too slow. Okay. That's two. I wonder if the roll shield can protect me. Oh. Never mind. Alright, let's not try to do anything fancy. Let's just kill these things. Gotta get them out of my way. Oh no, I screwed it up. I knew that was gonna happen. Alright, we need to exit then. Man, I don't know if I want to do that again. Whatever. It's my stream. It's 5:30. It's 5:30 a.m. on a on a Sunday. So, Eamon, you're the only one who's gonna suffer through this with me. Where's my bat friend? It's a good thing Seek the Sky and New Game Plus aren't here to disappointingly critique my gameplay. Oh, nice. You get anything good for Christmas? Any cool new games? Oh, come on, just one more. Do I have 9? No, I need one more. Come on, bat. Here we go. Alright, we got 9. Let's try this again. Don't really have to worry about wasting energy on things. We'll use Chill Penguin here. Whee! Oh, I should play the Super Star Wars games. But why would I want to punish myself like that? That's Oof, gotta get that out of the frame. I wonder... I am gonna try... That should be able to take all of them out. I want to see if there's an easier way to do this. Oh, that's cool. So now I can just... Whee! Oop. Almost screwed that one up. Alright, one. Duet Night Abyss. There's so many games out there that I just... It's so hard to follow them all. And here I am playing a game that came out in 1993. Two. Okay, just gonna get a little closer to these guys, and then bam! Alright, that's 3. Totally won't absorb your life. I got my nephew Hades with the approval of his dad. He's 15 years old, and I got a text from him saying he loves it and he's been playing it all day, and that was like at 6 p.m. or something. I'm like, okay, I'm a good uncle. I got him an addicting game that he can play, and I know his mom is not not always thrilled about screen time, so I have no regrets. Oh, look at that. They shortened it. Or I just have to do it. That counts. I give you a special present. Now enter the capsule, please. See, stuff like this, we need more of this in modern games. Like, secrets that are almost impossible to figure out, but if you do, it feels really cool. And you don't and you can't buy them. Look at that. Like, the lightsaber you could get in Resident Evil 8. That shouldn't have been something you could pay money for and buy. It should have been only unlockable or really, really secret. Like, we need to bring this back. Most team players have spent more time playing old games than new games. Yeah, I believe that. Now we have the Hadouken. And I think that's why, like, you're seeing people complain about remakes and remasters and things like that, but honestly, if that's what they're playing, they have to see that there's got to be a reason for that. There's something turning away a lot of players from modern gaming and going back to the older games. Yeah, we need more Easter eggs. Now we'll see how many times I can actually pull this off in a fight, because you do need full health to do the Hadouken. This part as a kid was really annoying. And it's still annoying now, even as an adult. But if you know your robot master abilities, things can be a lot easier. Alright, touch that guy, get rid of it. Now, if you watch speedrunners, they have, like, everything down pat. Like, how to, as soon as a boss fights, as soon as a boss fight starts, they know the exact set of movements you need to do to like, get them in the right place to use the Hadouken. The classic scene. Let me practice it. I love that. Hang on one second. Ugh. I was talking this whole time and it was on mute. Maybe, but I'm not through with you yet. What a worthless gesture. I can't be defeated so easily. So X, it's just you and me now. What the? Where did that energy come from? It really doesn't matter. You're still far too weak. Prepare to be terminated. Oh man, maybe he can't be killed by that. I thought every boss died to the Hadouken. Guess not. Alright, but his weakness is... Or maybe it just didn't hit him enough? I don't know, we'll see. We'll try it on other bosses. I always liked Vile because he looked like Boba Fett. Zero's not looking too good. Apparently androids have blood in them too. See, I know that Zero was supposed to be the main Mega Man design for Mega Man X, but they just decided to create a whole new character because he just looks so cool. And I wonder if, you know, storytelling-wise, you always have to try to plan these things out, but this is a Mega Man game, so they probably didn't do that. But it's one of those things where it's like, were I to write this game, you know, putting in a character that everybody loves and then killing that character off is a great way to like raise the stakes of the story. You know, kind of like what Lord of the Rings did with Gandalf. Like, we're going on a hero's journey with Mega Man, and in a very simple way, Zero is like your older, wiser mentor, and now he's gone, and you're left on your own. It's cool. All right, I'm gonna waste an E-tank here because I want to see if I can pull this off. Yeah. No, yeah, he's not dead. He is in the sequels, and I think it's because they realized, wow, this character is super popular. Everybody loves him. There's no way that we can get rid of him, which is understandable. You know, he has his own character moments and character arcs throughout the series too. So he developed into a good character in his own right. But I'm just saying that like a great storytelling mechanic is to get your audience to love and respect a character and then kill them or get rid of them. It's a great way to kind of, one, raise the stakes, but also like from like just a feeling perspective. You know, X is now alone, so it adds to the emotions of like it all depends on you now. Zero can't help you, even though he like saved you once, helped you again just a second ago, but you don't have that like, what am I trying, that like safety net anymore. You're like, I know it's a game, but it just it matters, okay? It changes the feel of the game. This boss was really hard as a child, and I think you can. Yeah, okay, never mind. Alright, we're gonna have to go with the, I'm not gonna try to Hadouken this thing. The window is just too tight for me. Again, I'm not a... Oh my gosh, I'm... This is one of those bosses where normally I would complain about having to wait for like that opportune moment to hit them, like you don't control the pace of the battle, but because of the way the rest of the design of this boss, you're not really thinking about that as the player. You're too busy dodging these little spiders or trying to work out in your head where exactly he's gonna land. And so it's like, if you're going to make it so that the boss has a tiny window and the player can't control the pace of the battle, this is how you should do it in a general sense. You shouldn't obviously make it exactly this way because that would be weird. But got him. But that's the way to do it. You want to distract the player enough so that they don't notice that they're having to wait. They can't put down the controller. They can't do all that stuff. It's probably, I think, one of the best designed bosses in the game. In a game with great bosses. And really, like, in the entire Mega Man series, Mega Man franchise, well, at least the ones that are like this, the 2D action platformer, like the Dr. Wily Sigma levels are really a great, it's a great structure for the game itself. Like the Robot Masters, you get the weapons, you get acquainted with them. There's incentive to replay the levels to get everything you need, and then you get practice with all the weapons, and then you're thrown into these Dr. Wily or Sigma stages, and they put all of your knowledge of the weapons to the test. And you get a chance to play the level how you want to play it. Oh man. Okay. I'm when it comes to using the Hadouken, I'm one for two. Maybe we can. Okay. Let's give it a shot. I think I have to be on the X Buster. I should be able to get Chill Penguin. Oh. Yeah. Taking him down. The few times you were handed a control, were you the kid that like you go to your friend's house and then your friend's the one that plays and you just sit there and watch? I've been there, and I hated that as a kid. Probably save that. This is another one of those sections where knowing the right ability is really helpful, unless you do that. Okay, Storm Eagle. Maybe I can get some health from these guys. Ah, whatever. We'll just waste an E-Tank. I'll give it one shot. Storm Eagle doesn't... He only can damage you via contact damage. So you just kind of have to deal with this. Yeah. Got him. Good. Multiplayer games are good. I remember when my friend got Legend of Zelda before me, Ocarina of Time. I was like pleading with him. I'm like, please, I was like at a sleepover. I'm like, please, can we not play this game? I really want to play it for myself. But he's like, no, I really want to play it. So I sat there and I watched like a little bit of it, and then I like refused to watch anymore. I literally went to bed early at a sleepover in middle school, which is like unheard of, because I did not want to. Sounds like a bad thing to do it for as a friend, but he's still one of my good friends. You know, I've had my share of moments with him as well, so I can't really blame him. Terminal montage is something about the Mega Man series. I believe I've watched that. Oh, and I watched the other video you sent me. I'm forgetting what it was. It was, oh yeah, it was the Fallout guy on Caution. I talk about that in, I think, my last Mega Man X, my last Metroid live stream. So I do watch your videos, Eamon, that you send me, and I appreciate that. So Keep them coming. So you can't actually use the Hadouken on this guy. But it's, as you can see, it's a little tricky. This is probably my least favorite boss in the game. Just because one, it's you're waiting to attack the boss, and two, it's not very, I don't know, it doesn't look very cool. Bird o'clock. Da, 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 da. Alright, I think we got one more level. We're gonna push it. Hopefully my kids won't come bursting in. I wanna finish this one today. Because tomorrow I'm planning on doing my final episode of Metroid Prime 2. Okay, this guy's gonna be a little hard to... Oh no, it's Armadillo. Got him. The video highlighted the difference in generational game dev mentality. Older devs loved having their name and responsibilities on the whiteboard so they could clear it, while newer felt threatened over it. Yeah. Which is really weird, because something I said when I talked about it in my live stream was that it's like my job right now. I have a Jira board, which is it's basically like, it has my name next to my tickets, and so everyone can see what I'm supposed to be doing, and they can check who made this mistake or who did that. So I don't really understand why that felt so threatening to some people. But ultimately, the way I would interpret that is, they don't want to bear the responsibility of, like, if something goes wrong. You know? I could be wrong. I don't know how other people feel about it, but, you know. Oh, man. There's a way to, if you do it just right, you can stun lock this guy. Sting Chameleon. Yeah, there we go. Like that. See, stun... If you program in a stun lock for your boss, okay? Or if you know that it's possible, at least make it somewhat skill-based. Like, the player has to execute something a little complicated or a little tricky in order to make it happen. Okay? With Spark Mandrill, you can just stand there and shoot him over and over again with his weakness. Whereas that one, you kind of have to have a little bit of timing. You have to know like the boss and what they're gonna do. So I mean so that one I would give a pass. Otherwise, you create what's known as a degenerate strategy, which is basically like a strategy that's so OP or so overpowered that it doesn't make sense not to use it. And it kind of can make the game too easy. That's otherwise known as cheesing a boss. Alright, Spark Mandrill. Alright, he's gonna rush me first. I don't know if I can get it off quickly. Nope, I was wrong. Alright, whatever. So like this, yeah. Speaking of Spark Mandrill. Like, yeah, I'm getting hit, but if you time it, I'm not really working on the timing here, guys, but there are ways to do this where you can just, if you time it right, he won't be able to move. That's too easy to pull that off It's one of the minor faults I have with this game. It's all about that balance between difficulty and ease and anxiety and pleasure. I'm thinking of this in my mind. I'm thinking of this flow chart to get basically flow chart, not a flow chart, a chart that maps out like the middle ground you want to get to maximize gameplay enjoyment, or what's called the flow state. It's the state that players get into when they are just have that blank look on their face that everybody thinks it means their brain is being fried, but in reality, that's when the most brain activity is occurring, and it's when they retain the most information. It's something that like teachers actually try to shoot for when they're planning their lessons. They want their kids, the students, to have fun because that's when they retain the most information, when they hit that flow state. Sorry, I'm talking and playing at the same time is still very difficult for me. Stunlock bosses versus pure immunity to auto kill skills in Final Fantasy. Where's his guitar? Oh, the now I am remembering the something about the Mega Man series. Yeah, where it's a little cartoon where he runs through the Mega Man X, and then he gets to the Spark Mandrill stage, and he's like, "The song is awesome," and then I have a guitar battle. See, why would they do that? I don't want to die. They learn an AI yeah, I mean, I've seen many videos on education in China. Yeah, that's kind of when it comes to that sort of thing on how to, because like again, I was a teacher. I have my master's in educational technology. I like specifically focusing on gamification in the classroom, and the amount of hate that video games get is it's so detrimental to what could be an like such a great tool for education. Like, and I think this needs to happen both from the video game developer end and educator end, because there haven't really been any games. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. Assassin's Creed does a great job of actually working in real historical facts and mixed with fiction. Like, you can learn a lot about the state of the different time periods in at least the first 3 Assassin's Creed games, if you just like play the game. But I can't really think of very many other games that do that well. There was in education they call them learning management systems. It's basically systems you use in-house to keep track of your student progress. It's like an online grading book, but you can do a lot with it. And there was one company called Classcraft, and they basically tried to mesh fantasy elements with learning management systems. So like you could program in stats for each student, and each student could choose their character and type, and boss battles were like tests and exams and things like that, but it added that kind of RPG element to education, and it was really, really, really cool. In order to like truly maximize it, you had to love what you were doing as a teacher and like that sort of thing, because it took a lot of work. But if you did it, like the few times I actually found time for it to work it in the class, the kids loved it. And unfortunately, it was shut down and bought out by another company that stripped it of a lot of its RPG elements, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it just feels like throughout my entire life, video games have been a scapegoat for a lot of different negative behaviors that kids can exhibit. And don't get me wrong, there's a reason for that. Video games, because of the interactive quality of them, the interactivity of them, they do affect the brain in a different way than like reading a book or a movie. It gives you more brain activity, which is like both a good thing, but also it can be very overstimulating. If you're not careful with it, or if you're a parent, if you're not monitoring how your kids interact with it. So I'm not saying that none of the like effects of video games, the negative effects of video game are unwarranted. I'm just saying it's a different type of medium, and just like with any medium, you will find examples of how it can be good and how it can be bad. And I do think that it applies in different ways, even to things like books and movies. But the interactivity of games is what really makes them stand out. Oh, what am I doing? There's an easier way to do this. We'll just do it this way. Honestly, growing up with the pure hatred teachers had for video games makes me think they simply couldn't compete for attention, and hated the fact that, yeah. Rather than learning about games and trying to gamify, they simply insulted it. Yeah, exactly. And that still happens today. There is a derision, there is a resistance, and a desire to only focus on the negative aspects of gaming. And then you have people like that author Sarah McGonigal, who she wrote a book called Reality is Broken, and in it she talks about how she used gamification techniques that she learned from designing video games to help her deal with depression. That doesn't work with everyone. I get that, but to say it won't work at all or is detrimental, it's like you really can't do that. There's different ways of thinking about problems, which I think is one of the ultimate strengths about video games, is that it puts you in different situations, depending on the game, obviously. Not all games are created equal. To look at a situation and try to think of different ways of solving the problem. It's like reading. If you could make the argument that because reading is less stimulating, and it is, and I do agree that I want my kids to be readers and read books. But at the same time, there's always a limit to these things. And if my children spend all their time reading and doing nothing else, then that can be a problem. If it goes all the way back to what I said at the beginning of my my Metroid Prime 2 stream. Like, if your hobby starts to make it, especially as you become an adult, starts to interfere with your responsibilities, then that is the problem. It's not the hobby itself, because there are good and bad examples of all different types of mediums. It's just, how is it affecting you? And I do recognize that because of the interactivity of video games, they are more likely to produce a an addictive response, which is why, you know, they need to be handled responsibly. But to throw the baby out with the bathwater, I think, is the wrong way, and it's also irresponsible because, you know, kids get older and they begin to be exposed to video games, and you want to be able to teach them in the right way how to interact with them. Just like you would books and movies. So, anyway. Alright, let's end this. Three-part fight here. Taking down the dog. Oh, man. Screwed that up right away. I forget what he's weak to. I don't know. I'm just going to take him out normally. I feel like one of the only times where the hero destroys a pet, and it's actually like a good thing. Usually that's a technique, like make them be nice to animals so that the audience likes them. But I guess it is a robot, so it doesn't really count. And it's not very cute. It's cool looking. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's why everybody loves John Wick, is because they made him be nice to that animal. That dog, excuse me. I always thought this fight was kind of uninteresting because he has Sigma has such like an easy manipulated. It's very easy to manipulate his attack pattern, which makes the fight kind of boring. And even as a kid, I figured this out. So another little slight ding against this game, which is why I always describe it as a near perfect game. But you know, it was the first of its kind, so I'll cut it some slack. I know subsequent Mega Man games are Mega Man X games can be very, very difficult. Oops. Another cool transition here. Alright. I am going to load up on health here because he does a ton of damage. And yeah, okay. I think I wasted my opportunity to Hadouken him, but whatever. Classic Mega Man boss design where you can only hit him in one specific spot, which is really cool. Plenty going on. I'm controlling the pace of the fight. An awesome final boss. I wonder if I can pull it off now. Let's see. Nope. Maybe we'll try to get the last hit. Alright, well, I got 2 E-tanks to spare. We'll try to get the last hit with it. Alright, one more try. Oh, okay, never mind. Let's just hit him with the X-Buster. Oh, whatever. Boom. Done. Maybe I'll make this my Christmas tradition where I replay X or play a Mega Man X game or Mega Man game around Christmas time. No, it's not possible. I'm a Reploid. Can't be destroyed by you. Why, X? Why have you done this to us? Without the humans, my Reploid brothers could have ushered in a new age. It's okay. He'll be back in the next game, just like Zero. The war has ended for now, and peace has been restored. But those who sacrifice themselves for victory will never return. Except they will. Exhausted, X gazes at the destruction he helped cause and wonders why he chose to fight. Was there another way? Standing on the cliff, the answers seem to escape him. He only knows that he'll fight the Mavericks again before he finds his answer. This is a really slow text scroll. How long will he keep on fighting? How long will his pain last? Maybe only the X-Buster on his hand knows for sure. ... Pretty sure it should only be 3 dots for an ellipsis, but I could be wrong. My own game. Bongo Man. Only if I like win the lottery and have all this free time on my hands would I make my own game. Whenever asked, even my favorite game, original Bioshock, isn't perfect. I don't know if there's such a... Yes. Bioshock is one of those games that's near perfect, I would say. That was fun. I love beating this game. And look, it only takes like 2 hours if you're playing casually. Back in the old days when they would tell you the names of and every enemy had a name. One of the things I love to do is pull out the booklet as a kid and skip right to the page that had like the enemies and the names listed next to them. Planty, Ioworm, Axeman, Cragman, Boss Spider. The spider boss, its literal name is Boss Spider, B-O-S. P-I-D-E-R. I know that X4, and again, I've never played X4. Maybe I'll do that one day on stream. That would be kind of fun. I do know that it's considered the best, and X5 is maybe worth playing. X6 probably not, but I am interested in the story. I know the first 3 X games don't really have much of a story. It's more just kind of like in the background, like that last epilogue text scroll thing. Text scroll is there. Makes me want to dive into the Mega Man X lore. I know that they remade Mega Man X for the PSP, I think, called Maverick Hunter X, and it was 3D, 2D, and it worked in some anime cutscenes. So, we'll see. And you as Mega Man X. Cheetor, Optimus Primal. Oh man, I own all those on DVD. I'm waiting for my sons to be old enough to watch them. The Beast Wars. Wasn't there Black Widow as well? Rhinox. What were some other ones? Who was the mouse? I can't remember. Man, games had such small development teams back then. I can't really fault them for having huge development teams now, given that they're so huge and the work is a lot. Not unless you want to spend 7 years building your sequel like Team Cherry did. But it seems to have paid off for them, so... And then we get this. I think if you wait long enough, it happens. We'll see. Yeah, I believe if you wait long enough. Yeah, that line of like, those who sacrifice will never return. It almost feels like they didn't know how popular Zero would be as a character. And then, here it is. You have won a temporary victory, X. What you destroyed is only a temporary body. My spirit remains intact, because computer programs have spirits. In time, I will find another body. I'll find other bodies strong enough to do my bidding, and I will return. I shall see you soon, X. Very soon. And of course, you defeat Sigma like 7 more times. Yeah. And I believe this is where the game, on the Super Nintendo, you kind of just have to shut off the screen here. So. Alright. Scorponok, yeah. Did you ever read the Mega Man X manga or watch the anime? No, but there is a video on my to watch playlist that is like the tragic lore of Mega Man X. So I am interested in watching it and diving into it. Maybe I'll just read the manga. But yeah, I did know that it is pretty tragic, and you kind of get that. You kind of get that with the ending, and just the world itself. It's not the game is not meant to be like cheerful. Yes, the colors are vibrant, and the bosses they're a bit more intense, and again, even the gameplay itself lends itself to like you have to focus more. It's not meant to be like a casual like thing. It's supposed to be the bosses are supposed to be intimidating. What little story there is serious. There's no jokes. Your best friend dies. Like, it's a serious game, so I think it meshes well with the vibe of the series. Even the classic scene in Mega Man X4 with Zero's scream of "What am I fighting for?" As goofy as it is, it fits with the tone of the game. Like a lot of the in the series, I believe, I haven't read the series, but you are basically killing your old friends. Like the Mavericks they were at once good guys. Same with Sigma. So I don't know how the newer games add to the tone of the series, but maybe I'll have to do that. Play through the rest of the series. Anyway, this was a lot of fun. Eamon, thanks for hanging out. Tomorrow is going to be the finale, hopefully, of Metroid Prime 2. So definitely tune in if you're awake. If you could design your own Mega Man character, Bongo Man, what power would he have? What would he look like? Well, definitely he'd have maybe like a robot version of... Have you ever watched Demon Slayer? You know how he fights this demon in the first season that has these bongos? So maybe like a robot version of him where he like uses sound waves to manipulate the gravity of the stage. You know what I'm talking about? Go, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look him up. That'd be a cool way to do it. I think both fits with my name, is a double entendre on my last name. Room manipulating bongo. Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's it. That's what I would do. A robot version of that. I'm gonna use AI to build that. We'll see. He was an artist. He was, and Tanjiro showed respect by not stepping on his poetry. Anyway, we'll talk about Demon Slayer later. Alright, thanks for hanging out, Eamon. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Tomorrow, tune in for the fun finale of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, and then we'll take it from there. So, have a good day, everyone.